The process of coming of age has always been an avid topic of discussion in the film and TV industry. It seems like every year we get even more brand new shows and feature-length films that tackle the teenage experience in a new way. And I'll admit, there's been some really interesting TV shows about regular high schoolers just living their normal lives with vampires, stalkers, constant singing, demons, werewolves, aliens, and so much more. It would seem like this genre has taken close to every spin it can on what it's like to be a teenager. So how is it that we still see so many new shows being made with high school as a setting, and how do they find a way to stand out if they're even able to? This is where I think HBO's Euphoria has not only excelled but has redefined what this genre is able to accomplish. It's more than a show about high schoolers and their shenanigans. It's a dark, gritty character study focusing on dissecting the different teenage stereotypes we become familiar with in this genre of media, further exploring those characteristics on a level deeper than we've seen as of yet, and furthermore commenting on the fact that these stereotypes are nothing more than labels used to judge people based on their outward appearances, both on screen as well as in reality. But beyond the commentary regarding stereotypes, Euphoria at its core is a show completely dedicated to exploring each of its character with an X-Acto knives level of precision, letting the viewer know what each character is thinking, what they're insecure about, what they fear, and what they love, creating a well-rounded understanding of the characters which allow us to learn about each of their perspectives regarding not only high school, but their lives beyond the confines of school. Did I mention that they not only give each character an impressively in-depth personality, but they do it in the most visually interesting way with the most banging soundtrack? I mean, I guess that's A24 for you, I'm not surprised. But let's get back on track. Today we're going to be analyzing what specific aspects of the show make it stand out from a genre we've seen so much of, and how those aspects allow for various themes of high school to be showcased in such a fleshed out manner. I'll be breaking this video down into the different technical aspects that I found to be particularly impactful and what makes Euphoria so good, and why we should still be talking about it. So I'm now issuing a minor spoiler warning, and let's get into it. Color is one of the most prominent aspects of the show. It's not news to point out that the show uses a lot of purple, and it could be considered the official color based off of the promo imagery alone. The purple used throughout provides a consistent feel for the entirety of the show, having a visual commonality that links the episodes together despite how different each may feel in tone. But with further analysis, it's clear why purple was chosen to characterize a show with so many different focuses. Purple is a combination of two violently different colors, red and blue. The meshing of these two colors symbolizes high school as a whole. Every day is different. You can't exactly predict how you or the people around you are going to feel, and there's no way to guarantee anything except for the fact that you're going to be sitting in one of those uncomfortable desks 5 days a week until all the days just start to blend. It's like tie-dyeing a shirt. You may think you're in control when you're choosing the colors you want the shirt to have, but in the end you have no say in how vivid the colors are going to become, or if the shirt will even look good on you after it's done. But the one thing you can guarantee is the colors will inevitably blend and change, much like how our emotions do as they range from one day to the next, eventually beginning to fuse together completely. Emotions that in a few years we won't really remember as anything more than, yeah, I think I was pretty sad during that period of my life. I think this idea is showcased really well during a scene from the first episode where we see Rue doing nothing but having colors literally projected onto her face, a visual representation of coming of age and the emotions we're forced into facing whether we want to experience them or not. We don't ask to feel so confused and lost during this time in our lives, but it's an unfortunate reality for most of us, and it can at times feel so overwhelming. However, this is not the only use of color present within the show, as it is used in many more situations, especially regarding the visual representation of certain characters. There are many instances where colors become attributed directly to a character, thus having it represent their emotions throughout the show in a very direct and visual manner. A prominent example of this is the color red. Red is commonly used to symbolize danger, power, love, and desire, and throughout the show, two characters are surrounded by it the most. Nate is often highlighted by red, especially during times where he's quite literally angry, and he'll proceed to respond by using his power in order to get his way. And on the other hand, we have Kat, who begins wearing outfits with lots of red, and it makes it really apparent of her new status after losing her virginity. She begins to explore this world of desire, which begins her journey towards accepting that she deserves love, and to also love herself. Colors mean a lot in the show, but what if I told you that the lack of color holds just as much weight? Euphoria isn't shy when it comes to color. It'll be presented in ways that are completely unrealistic, Like, who has lights like this in their room? But this is done intentionally to highlight parts in the show where the colors are completely muted, usually when our characters are at their most vulnerable. Rue and Jules' relationship is explored in a lot of the show, and we see them in many different situations. But when they're laying in bed or being their most intimate with each other, the color in the shot is completely diluted to nothing more than a slight blue tint or no tint at all. This shows the viewer that we need to be paying attention to the characters in front of us right now and having no other distractions within the frame. Each episode begins with a roughly 10-minute cold open, which focuses on a different main character each time. The first episode focuses on Rue, the second on Nate, and so on and so forth. These cold opens directly inform the viewer about an event or series of events that directly impacted the character in a way that is relevant to their present-day selves, and it also convinces us why we should have an emotional investment in the character and their development throughout the series. This is where the stereotypes begin to come in. We see these characters at first by what they're quite literally known to be on the outside by others. McKay is first portrayed as a frat boy jock, but after his cold open, we learn that he's way more complicated than that. He's actually a really sensitive and hardworking individual, two characteristics someone only as close to him like Cassie would ever have said about him before the cold open. Additionally, prior to Nate's cold open, we see that he is a misogynistic jock with anger issues, but after, while that one part does remain true, we do learn that there is a reason for his behavior. His father's impact on his life has been less than positive, and without the proper outlets to alleviate his frustrations regarding that, Nate simply chooses to lash out and hurt others around him like his father has done to him. But that's not to say that these cold opens help to excuse the behaviors of characters like Nate. We still understand that he's a terrible person who's going to continue to do some really awful things throughout the course of the season. These deep dives simply help the viewer to understand the character and see that he's not just some one-note bully that we should brush aside, but rather an extremely troubled and manipulative person that we should be seeing as a threat. Also, in the case of more sympathetic characters like Cassie, Jules, and Kat, just to name a few, we leave these cold opens feeling far more attached to them as a character. We've at that point seen what things motivate them, make them feel insecure, and all the other things their history has told us. This creates a feeling of empathy for those characters, for maybe we've been through the same things they've been through, or at the very least felt a similar emotion to them. And since we feel a lot closer to them, we want to see them thrive throughout the rest of the show. Essentially, Euphoria is providing us with these in-depth looks on each character, allowing us to connect with them on an emotional level, either to root for them, feel bad for them, or just hope that they go to therapy soon. I'm not going to spend long talking about this since pretty much everyone since this came out has praised it on the sheer visual beauty that the cinematography in this show is. Simply put, it is clear that there was a lot of passion put behind the show, especially when it comes to the visual presentation. However, there are some shots that I wanted to highlight that I found to be particularly impactful, and that list is as follows. The beginning of episode 4 showcases a one-shot through the town's carnival that, in the duration of the shot, showcases every single main character. This shot is both impressive technically, but also impressive thematically. It shows the claustrophobia of high school and forced interconnectivity between students. They're at this huge carnival, and yet you can easily pinpoint every single character like a lineup. But honestly, every single shot in the 4th episode could be talked about at length. Next is the room turning scene in the 1st episode. This is a scene that shows Rue stumbling around, high, as the entire world seemingly turns around her. The purpose of the shot is pretty self-explanatory, but it was really engaging and incredible nonetheless. Finally, any scene where Rue and Jules are biking. When they're biking alone somewhere, they are framed in the shot to appear so small and narrow, and most of all, alone, which is particularly important as these two characters are often feeling the most detached from the rest of our cast. However, in the scenes where they are biking together, it's bright and happy, and if it's at night, it's intimate and close up. It's drastically different from when they're alone, further showing us in Rue's mind that her and Jules have this us versus the world mentality, and that they feel the most alive when the other is near. Music plays a pinnacle role in the series and again provides further context for the characters. The score was created by Labrinth, an English singer-songwriter, and it's quite literally an audible compilation of the different themes presented within the show. Labrinth spoke on his inspiration for the score in a Rolling Stone article, and I feel like he can say it way better than me, so here it goes. Quote, "When you look back to your teenage days," he says, "it feels semi-magical, but semi-crazy and semi-psychotic. I wanted to make sure the music felt like those things," unquote. This mixture of complex emotions presented in the music pairs perfectly with the blending of color, music, and reality presented within the show, accurately portraying the confusion that is accompanied with coming of age. The music is often used during times when specific characters are on screen, which further personifies the song with that specific character. The track, Nate Growing Up, is played during Nate's cold open. The music itself begins loud and commanding, much like Nate's presence, but as the song progresses, it goes from loud to a much softer, almost whimper coming in at the end, showcasing Nate's demeanor. On the outside, he's seen as brooding and destructive, but on the inside, he's a scared and helpless little kid. Another one of the title tracks off of the album, Still Don't Know Your Name, emphasizes the lonelier aspects that Rue, our protagonist, is feeling throughout, with lyrics like, "And I would die or stay for you right now," and "But you still don't know my name," shows us again that Rue has these strong and complicated feelings for Jules. She feels that she's giving her all, and it's almost enough, but in the end, Jules still doesn't know if she wants to be with her or what she wants at all. Additionally, the song is a reflection on Rue's detachment from the rest of the characters as well. While she knows all of them and has for a while, she still feels as if no one knows her name or her story, or that they don't even care enough to find out. Euphoria is one of those shows where you can tell that behind the scenes there was so much passion and drive to create an outstanding and impactful show, and this is no surprise since it's based off of Sam Levinson's real-life experiences. And while I touched on a lot of the aspects and examples attached to them, there's still so much that can be said about this show. It's one you can rewatch without any hesitation and instantly find yourself fully immersed in this world that was curated with so much love and care. I truly cannot wait for season 2 because I'm sure there's going to be even more to talk about. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you so much. This was my first one, so that does mean a whole lot to me. But if you really like this video and you want to see more stuff that's film and TV related, all you have to do is like, subscribe, and share. Really, that's it. Well, thank you again, and have a good rest of your day. Peace.